Bats are unmistakable. No other mammal has true wings and can fly. Texas is fortunate to have 31 different species of bats and some great places where you can go see them. I'm Meg Goodman, Texas State Bat Biologist for Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. We are here at the Congress Avenue Bridge in downtown Austin, Texas. This is the site of the largest urban bat colony in the whole world. Bats are pretty misunderstood by people because they come out at night and you don't get to see them very often, and they have a lot of myths associated with them. But we're going to take you to 5 great sites throughout the state, and so that you can learn more about them and watch the bats as they emerge at night. The most common bat in the state is the Mexican free-tailed bat, the one I have right here in my hand. This is the type of bat you'll see at most of the sites we're about to go visit. The reason this little guy is called a Mexican free-tailed bat is because his tail sticks out from beyond his tail membrane. This is a full-grown bat. He can fly up to 60 miles per hour with a tailwind. Because of his long, narrow wings and short fur, these bats can fly up to 100 miles round-trip in an evening, consuming several tons of costly agricultural pests. The first place we'll take you to is a cave out in the Texas Hill Country. It's a typical place you'd expect a bat to hang out. Located 35 miles north of Del Rio is Kickapoo Cavern State Park. It's here that you'll find Stewart Bat Cave, where up to 200,000 Mexican free-tailed bats roost in late summer. 200,000 bats may sound like a lot, but this is actually one of the smaller colonies of Mexican free-tailed bats found in Texas. But that doesn't take away from the amazing sight each summer night when they leave the cave to go feed. These bats have migrated up from central Mexico. We have a lot of bats that migrate up from central Mexico to the central Texas area every year. Inside the cave, they're huddled together at an amazing 200 bats per square foot. Though each bat weighs only as much as 2 quarters, the whole colony can devour 10 tons of moths, beetles, and other harmful insects in a single night.
Actually, what they do is once they have their pups, they leave them in the general area, kind of like a nursery inside the cave.
There's a guided interpretive program given by a Texas Parks and Wildlife employee to all visitors.
No, they produce milk. They're mammals, so they do produce milk. And actually,
reservations are recommended and can be easily made through Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. Let's go check out another Central Texas bat cave. It's about 60 miles right up the road from here. Just northeast of Kickapoo Cavern State Park near Rock Springs is the Devil's Sinkhole State Natural Area. This is home to one of Texas's largest colonies of Mexican free-tailed bats. Just like at all the sites, between April and October, the bats begin flying counterclockwise inside the sinkhole. The effect is like a tornado and is greater at this site than at any place else. This many bats make huge columns that you can see for miles. Up to 3 million Mexican free-tailed bats inhabit this cave. August and September is a really great time to come watch the bat emergence. Look at this. This is amazing. For a small fee, guided tours leave from Rock Springs and take about 2 to 3 hours.
And they prefer to live in a cave, and they prefer to live in groups of millions.
Because there is a limit to the size of the tour group, reservations are necessary.
So they go out and fly 50, maybe 75 miles at night.
This is a closed park site, but arrangements to visit can easily be made through the Devil's Sinkhole Society in Rock Springs. The next cave you can go visit is quite an adventure to get there, but it's really worth the trip. It's a really great site and there's a lot of bats to see there. About 18 miles southwest of Mason, after a drive down a dusty county road and going through a shallow river crossing, you'll be at the Eckert James River Bat Cave Preserve. This cave is owned and operated by the Texas Nature Conservancy. They offer an excellent viewing area which is really up close to the bat flight while they give you an interpretive presentation. This cave is also home to a maternity colony of Mexican free-tailed bats.
Babies are fitting about 500 per square feet. They're huddled in together. That's because they're cold, although it's over 100 degrees in the cave. And so when
group tours and interpretive presentations are one of the highlights here. But if you're lucky, you'll witness another of nature's winged wonders. Just like the bats, red-tailed hawks are always looking for food. The resulting display is amazing to watch. call ahead and make sure the cave will be open before you drive out here. The next site we'll visit is not a cave at all, but the bats sure like it. Nestled in the heart of the beautiful Texas hill country located between Fredericksburg and Comfort is the Old Tunnel Wildlife Management Area. As the name implies, this isn't a cave, but an old abandoned railroad tunnel. In 1913, the railroad company found it easier to build a tunnel through this hill than to route their trains around it. By 1942, this tunnel wasn't used anymore, so the bats took up residence. Old Tunnel's a really neat place to come see bats. You get to see the bat emergence from two different perspectives. You get the upper viewing deck for free of charge, or for a small fee you can come to a lower viewing deck and you get to see the bats up close, and you also get an interpretive presentation.
This is one of the only places that is open to the public where you can just come and watch the bats come back in the morning. Now you do have to get up early. They're starting to come back at 5:30, 5:45.
There are up to 3 million Mexican free-tailed bats that live in this tunnel. From the lower deck, the view is very close and amazing when the bats are this dense. From the upper level, you're not as close, but you can see more of the emergence. Sometimes the bats will come out of both ends of the tunnel and fly over the top deck, making the view much more spectacular. Both viewing areas are great, so you may have to come out twice to experience everything.
The last place we'll visit where you can go see a bat emergence is one of the top tourist destinations in Austin.
About a mile south of the Texas state capitol in downtown Austin is the Congress Avenue Bridge. This is a really unique spot to go see bats. With a population of up to 1.5 million Mexican free-tailed bats, the Congress Avenue Bridge is home to the largest urban bat colony in North America. When engineers reconstructed downtown Austin's Congress Avenue Bridge in 1980, they had no idea that new crevices beneath the bridge would make an ideal bat roost. Although some bats had likely lived there for years, it was headline news when they started moving in by the thousands. Austin now has one of the most unusual and fascinating free tourist attractions anywhere. The Austin American-Statesman newspaper created a viewing area right next to the bridge. Bring a blanket and enjoy a great view of the nightly emergence.
Bats are both economically and ecologically very important, and now that you've learned a little bit more about them and where to see them across our state, I hope you'll go out and enjoy them sometime.
For more information about the places you just saw and other locations in Texas where you can see bats, call 1-800-792-1112 or log on to www.tpwd.state.tx.us. You can also visit Bat Conservation International's website at www.batcon.org.